going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video. I know you guys enjoyed the unboxing video. Well, a couple of you didn't, but most people did. I wanted to do a follow-up video to answer one of the questions that I get asked in the comments a lot, and that is about acclimation and what do we do for the animals once they arrive. Now keep in mind, there are many ways to accomplish what we're doing. Everybody does it differently, and this is not a forever home. These are animals that are here temporarily, and we're doing our due diligence to acclimate animals and get them ready to move on to permanent homes. So over the years, we have developed a system that I think works really, really well. And I think it translates into our animals. You can see how well they're doing by the animals that we're sending out. I think our reputation speaks for itself, and I get it asked a lot about what we do. So we keep things basic. The animals come in, and our number one priority is to reduce stress. So every animal, basically every terrestrial animal, is going to get a hide box. So the animal plastics cages here to my right, these were all housing all of the blue-tongued skinks and the monitors. They're empty now. All those animals have shipped out. But as you can see, foliage, hide boxes, branches, some of the stuff we've pulled out actually, because when we were packing animals for shipping, we had to remove some of the decor in that. So big water bowl, we'll spray them down, and the animals just get very comfortable. And then for the smaller monitors, we have crickets on hand, and we're giving them daily offerings of crickets until shipping. And the animals have heat, of course. There's radiant heat panels in all of these cages, and those animals just perk up and adjust, and even to the point where they've been here just a few days, a matter of days, and they're already like kind of coming to the front for food and recognizing me and not jamming and crashing into the cage sides and that sort of thing. So it works really well. But stress, visual cues, all that stuff, there's no foot traffic in here. There's nothing going on. We're not taking pictures. We're not doing Instagram photos. Stress is down, down, down. Now for the snakes, we use prevenamide. I know not everybody uses prevenamide. Not everybody likes prevenamide. I've used prevenamide for at least 20 years, maybe even longer. I have no idea. But we treat the cages, we let the cages air out, and then the animals end up going into those treated cages and then the water afterwards, of course, and that breaks the cycle of the mites. So we don't unbox inside the room. The animals just basically going into the cages that are treated, and it just takes a matter of days, and then the cycle is broken. So that is how we do, that is how we address the mites. So the green tree pythons, and yes, I know you green tree python guys, you don't like the exoteras. I use the exoteras. They're an easy way for me to isolate animals, keep a very close eye on them. Feeding, I can keep track of who's eating, who's not, spray them down and all that sort of thing. So for me it's easy, and this room is warm. It is not hot, but this has a good ambient in this room. So they work out really good for me. So I usually will utilize those. Either morph tokay geckos or green tree pythons are going up in the exoteras. The smaller green tree pythons, we set them up very small. And again, yes, we use substrate. It doesn't kill these snakes. I don't know what's going on out there in the hobby world, but for me, we use the substrate because I like to increase humidity at times when the snakes are going through a shed cycle. The only way I can do that is to dampen a substrate that will absorb and slowly release moisture over time, rather than rot out like a paper towel or keep animals over water or whatever. I am not the only way to do things, but this is how we do things. So just standard, a nice big water bowl, a perch, and substrate. This perch is probably too big for the snake, but I don't think the snake really cares. I know there's also a lot of debate about using small perches, big perches, whatever. We have a lot of snakes in here, and we're using a lot of different size perches. Sometimes we use a smaller perch. It all kind of works the same. The snakes figure it out. And again, these are not forever homes. This is me doing what I need to do to get animals acclimated, and it works. Out of all the green tree pythons, I think we had 5 or 6 that didn't eat. So we have a lot of green tree pythons here, you guys. So that is upwards of 90% that took food. The ones that didn't take food, a lot of them are just simply in shed. So I think we're doing good. The system works great. Scrub pythons, very similar, just basic tub with substrate and small water bowl and a hide, and the snakes are comfortable in there. These snakes have all fed and everybody is looking very relaxed. Something I will share with you guys about scrub pythons: they will soak. Usually it's a stress response. So if they're stressed, they're going to be in that water bowl coiled up nice and tight, and they feel secure in there. It is not good for a scrub python to soak for days and days and days. They will end up getting water blisters and start having issues. So I keep these snakes with a very, very tiny water bowl, really small, so small that they can't go in there and soak. And there's also a hide. So that basically makes the animal realize that it can feel just as secure inside of a hide as it can in a water bowl. After a few days of this, the snake learns to feel comfortable in the hide, and then I will provide a bigger water bowl. But it creates issues when you have scrub pythons soaking in water bowls for days and days and days. You are going to have problems. My experience only, I'm just sharing. So that's how we do with the scrub pythons. On the back wall here, we have more scrub pythons, a little bit bigger, and we just keep them in bigger size setups, almost identical, except these will have like a big branch in there or whatever. The green tree pythons, we keep them very simple PVC perch that I made to fit these boxes, and a big water bowl and substrate. The arus in particular can be very shy feeders. The Jayapuras and the Biox will eat straight off the tweezers or the tongs, no problem. But some of the arus are shy, so we house them one per box, and I will put a live rat pup in there, and most of them will eat overnight. This one happened to have eaten, and then we will keep track and mark and all that. So sexing, photographs, all that stuff, we don't do that right away. I know a lot of you guys are eager to buy animals and get them in your hands. It is just not something that we do. Stress is the first thing. Mites goes hand in hand. We're removing stress as we're removing mites. So that is priority. After a few days of that, maybe 2 days or 3 days, we offer food. If the animals are feeding, then we know that we're doing our job. Stress levels are super low. Animals are feeding, the percent of animals that are taking food is super high. That way we know that we're right on track. From there, maybe after the second feeding, then after that second meal digest, we may go ahead and probe and start sexing animals. Maybe do some photographs because we feel that the animals are ready to be sold, or at least on their way. And we already have a better idea. We can kind of start lining up sales at that point. So we're doing really good with the new batch. As we always do, I pretty much have never shared any of this stuff, but that is kind of our protocol. And then from there, we're just rocking and rolling. The animals that we have fed, the bigger animals, I put Flagyl and Panicure in every meal. So not every single meal, but the first meal for sure, and sometimes the second meal if I see an animal that is skinny or maybe showing indications that there may be something going on. The Flagyl acts as an appetite stimulant. So usually after that first meal with the treatment, those animals are going to be really aggressive feeders. They're super hungry on that second meal, and then again, we're just rocking and rolling from there. So the animals are treated for mites, they're treated for internals, and animals are stress-free. And by the time we do get around to shipping them out, they're ready to go. They're ready to move on to new homes. We've already recorded like how many meals and all that kind of stuff. And I only send animals out that are doing as good for me as I would anticipate, a customer would want them to be doing good for them as well. So that is about all I can think of. The geckos we housed in these big boxes. For the geckos, they don't really drink out of a water bowl, so we were spraying. Obviously, those hides weren't on their side, but the geckos don't like heat, so they were over here in the boxes on the floor with no heat, and just dumping crickets in there and keeping them cool and giving them a daily spray. So another thing about the prevenamite is that the whole premise of that is that you're spraying the cage and the cage decor, and you're creating this mist, this layer of chemical everywhere on there. So when the mites leave the snake to go lay eggs, they're coming in contact with that chemical and they're desiccating, they're dying, they're drying up and falling off. So we tend to not spray for at least 1 or 2 days water-wise because we feel like the water is going to rinse some of that chemical maybe off the perch or whatever. So we just leave them alone at least for a couple days, and then we will resume the spraying after that. But the prevenamite provides some, there's a house gecko loose in here. The prevenamite gives a level of protection that lasts a couple of weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. It's still active, it remains active in there. I have heard that sunlight deactivates the chemicals in prevenamite, so when you spray, don't do it in sunlight because supposedly that's bad for it. So do it in the shade. You can do it outside, just do it in the shade and not in the direct sun. And so that chemical is continuing to do its job for a number of weeks after you spray. So we really like it. It works really, really well. And then we monitor. Nobody's perfect. We have a lot of cages to spray out. We do our best to hit every single one, but you know, if for some reason we missed one or we didn't spray enough or whatever, we're constantly monitoring all the animals. No animals are soaking in the water due to mites. They're all perched. I mean, you can see like all these guys, keep looking up here, just as an example, all the animals are happy, they're at the right temperature, nobody's soaking, I don't see any mites, everything's cleared out. And some of those animals are going to be shedding here soon, but really good luck with feeding and everything. So that's just how we do the acclimation, you guys. I just wanted to do a video because I get asked that a lot. And so that is how we do it. We keep it simple, but we address all the issues that need to be addressed. And I think we're doing a pretty good job. To be honest with you, some of the other importers or flippers or whatever they are, those animals are just bounced around. They don't even get a chance to drink water. Trust me, ask me how I know. You should read some of the DMs and private messages that I get about, I bought this animal from such and such in Florida and this and that and how do I fix it and all that. It's ridiculous. So we put in the time, we put in the work, we put in the care, we get animals up to snuff, and then they go out to you guys. So just a quick video, acclimation. Hope you guys enjoy that. Maybe some of you learned something about it. The scrub python, I've never really shared that tip before about the water bowl. Something that I learned years ago, and I still follow it, because if you provide that big water bowl, almost every single scrub is going to be in there soaking. You're going to end up with water blisters. It's going to be a problem. So that's about all I can think of. Thank you for watching, and I guess we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, you guys.